Hello again. So this is student B. So let's think about whether this one is more or less effective than student A. So what's going on here? Again, they have chosen to do the story rather than the description. This story is a little bit more involved and it's quite rushed in places. Um, so we've got someone, it's the narrative voice here, who's going to see their grandmother with their mum and their dad. So their grandmother seems like they're sort of ill, maybe not about to not make it. And then all of a sudden, the grandmother's going to live and everything's going to be all okay. So there's a kind of a lot going on there, and you can tell that that is a bit rushed. There are parts that are good, and then there are parts which are a little bit, like I said, sort of rushed. It like the bed is resting in a bed. It looked uncomfortable. You could kind of go into more detail there about how it was uncomfortable, how she looked uncomfortable, what her facial expression was. So rather than just telling the reader that it looked uncomfortable, to show the reader how it was uncomfortable. And that's kind of what we say about creative writing, is that it's about showing your reader rather than just telling them what something was like. Sort of things like she informed us that my grandmother was going to get better. She told us my grandmother would live. It was a miracle. So that could be done in a different way, that it could be perhaps be done through dialogue. It could be, they could sort of show us how it felt to hear that your grandmother was going to live rather than pass away. She smiled and her eyes filled with warmth. That was quite nice, isn't it? That was the first time in 3 years. I'm a bit confused by that. We were all beaming. So again, beaming's a nice vocabulary to use. But you could then expand on that maybe a bit more. And the thing is, if you say, expand here, expand on this bit, expand on that bit, ends up being, you've written an entire short story, which you haven't got time to do in 45 minutes. So that is kind of why we say that often doing the description is better, because you can spend more time developing ideas, which really is where the marks come from. So from these sort of highlighting points of view, again, there's not a lot that they've highlighted. Things like they just said here that was good. A range of sentence forms, so there's some sort of long and short sentences that works well, although they're saying here that this one lacks sentence variety, so they're all very short sentences, and it does seem like they've gone running out of time, I better hurry up and end my story as quickly as I can, which is a problem, because if we're all given an unlimited amount of time to do some creative writing, it would be better than trying to do it all in 45 minutes. But as markers, we understand that. So from a comments, what did they say? Communication generally clear and matched to purpose. An audience, albeit with a slightly implausible scenario of a sudden recovery. Yeah, so again, is it a plausible? Is it convincing and compelling? No, because it's a bit implausible. But ideas are connected and paragraphs are pretty good. So that's a good thing. Marks then. So for this got level 3, so a lower level 3, so 14 out of 24, which is still not, it's not a bad mark. Technically, 10 out of 16. So even with some of those shorter sentences, ineffective short sentences, things like spelling and punctuation, things like that were quite accurate. So overall, this person got 24 out of 40, which is absolutely not a bad mark whatsoever. So well done, student B. See you in a minute.